I had said basically like, when I got here, I felt like it wasn't as much culture here as compared to Ghana. I said that the food was just not hitting. I said that like Kenyans seem a little more colonized.
What is it that I'm actually looking for?
Do we really know life?
Sure. Let me say intelligence. Emotional intelligence, social intelligence, financial intelligence.
So I believe it's important for each and every one of us to understand the rules that govern any arena of your life.
You are listening to The Revenge of the Forsaken Gods, a podcast that explores the human experience and seeks to create a blueprint for living using books, stories, movies, and conversations. And here is your host, Andrew Balongo Opere.
Welcome to The Revenge of the Forsaken Gods. I am your host, Andrew Balongo Opere. And in today's episode, I want to explore what are the cultural differences that you're likely to experience if you're in Kenya. What are the challenges adapting to the Kenyan environment in business, career, and personal life? And what are the opportunities that are in Kenya that would make one pack their bags, leave their home country, and come and settle in Kenya? Well, our guest today did exactly that. She's a Washington, D.C. native by way of Atlanta, and she packed her bags and is now living in Kenya. She has over 6,000 followers on TikTok and 11.9 subs on YouTube with over 1 million plus views. She's an expat exploring Africa's beauty, and she says that she loves people. She loves to talk to people, and she loves to laugh hard. Without further ado, help me to welcome BrittneyCaldwell, aka Brittney in Africa.
You did say 6,000 on TikTok, but it's 60,000. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding. No.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
In fact, it's very rare for me to meet an African American or Black American woman in Kenya.
That's so crazy to me.
Why is it crazy? Because we meet so many white Americans.
There's so many of us out here.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, then maybe...
There's so many.
Then let me start with my first question. A friend of mine sent on TikTok that why don't Black Americans like hanging out with us Africans? It seems more white Americans, they have no problems hanging out with us.
When you say Africans, do you mean Kenyans or Africans in
Yes,
general?
I mean Kenyans since we're in Kenya.
Okay, I would say that less African Americans are coming here in general. Most of them go to Ghana, Nigeria, the West, because that's where we are taught to have like that sense of returning home. So like the year of return, when everyone went to Ghana, and it was so good for Ghana's economy, tourism, because it had been, I think that marked 200 years since the first slave went to America from Ghana's port. So things like that kind of connect Black Americans to West Africa instead of Kenya. So like, I'm not gonna lie, like I had been to Ghana like 7 times before I ever came to Kenya. Like Kenya was just not on the list for me, because that's just not how we were taught. So I say white Americans maybe don't feel any specific connection to a specific place in Africa. So they're just looking for a vibe, like, oh my God, like I want a safari, I want to do this. Versus most African Americans, if you're going back to the motherland, it's for a reason. Like it's for fun, but it's also spiritual. So Nairobi may not hit that spiritual chord for you. And that just is what it is,
Okay, I can get it. So,
yeah, you feel the vibe?
So the focus is more on West Africa because growing up, that's what you were shown is where the ancestors came from. Mm-hmm. So there's reason to be there.
Exactly.
Okay. And because you've visited West Africa, you've visited Ghana, and you've also, you're here in Kenya. What was it that just made you pack your bags and decide, to come and visit Africa? That's not a common thing.
Well, I started off, I had a boyfriend who was Ghanaian. So he was like, oh, you've never been to Africa? Like, girl, like, let's stop with the Miami and Jamaica. Like, I'm gonna take you to Africa. So we went to Ghana, and I just like enjoyed myself so much that we started going back and forth together. And then COVID hit, and he was just like, you can teach from home? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, let's go. So we were in Ghana for a while. I started like doing stuff with schools, X, Y, and Z. I was really looking for a job in Ghana, but it just didn't manifest itself, and I can't just accept any job. I need dollars, not CDs. So I got a job offer here in Nairobi, and I was like, okay, it's not Ghana, but I had never been to Kenya, didn't really do much research, but the numbers were looking right. So I was like, it's still on the African continent, so why not?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because not just you, a lot of foreigners know that there's opportunity here in Kenya.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of even Kenyans might not realize just how fruitful Kenya is, that so many people are coming here wanting to do business, wanting to invest. So visiting Kenya, being an outsider, what is unique about Kenya that makes it attractive to be in?
I would say there's a lot to do versus, so when I first came, I actually made this video called Accra versus Nairobi, and I got dragged on Kenyans of Twitter, KOT. I got dragged because I was just comparing.
Welcome to Kenya.
Yeah,
yes.
Like damn. I was comparing it to my experience in Accra, which made it kind of like, okay, this, but now that hindsight is 2020. I mean, the things that I can say now that I find attractive about Kenya since I've been living here, I would definitely say it's like so much tourism. There's so many things. You could live like 20 vacations in one country. That's what I say. So like, if you want to do like Masai Mara, get the safari vibe, or the desert vibe, the tea vibe, Kisumu vibe, Naivasha vibe, Lamu, totally different vibe than Diani, but Mombasa's like, you know what I'm saying? So
yes.
A lot of countries are kind of just like, you hit that one city and you go to the next country, like Accra. Most people aren't like, oh my God, I'm going to Kumasi or like other places. Even in Nigeria, it's like Abuja or Lagos, like you're not in Kenya. There's so many vibes that you can catch. It's super diverse. So I think that's one thing that makes it really attractive. And then also the price of things. I mean, it's cheap compared to the pound, the dollar. A lot of people come here to live their best life, period,
Wow. So if you're hearing that as a foreigner, come check it out. At least 20 destinations that Brittney has said, and she's only just scratched the surface of a few of them.
Yeah.
So let's just rewind back a little bit. What did you say about Kenya that would make KOT, and for those who don't know who KOT is, Kenyans on Twitter, that is the Kenya National Defense of everything Kenyan. If you dare say anything bad about Kenya, you will be bombarded by Kenyans on Twitter. So what did you say
First of all,
that set them off?
KOT needs a doctor, mental health. They need to be sued for harassment. They are, wow. KOT will handle you more than a legal team. Honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy the power that's behind KOT. But I had said basically like, when I got here, I felt like it wasn't as much culture here as compared to Ghana. I said that the food was just not hitting. I said that like Kenyans seem a little more colonized. I said that the technology is way better. I said the technology is way better. Infrastructurally, it's way advanced more than Ghana. So it wasn't like I was just like pounding on Nairobi. Like I was saying positive and negative things about both, but like I got dragged. Yeah, and they were like they were calling my school, like emailing my school, trying to get me deported. I swear to God.
Okay, yeah, I know KOT are vicious. If you get on their wrong side,
yeah.
Yes, you will go down.
Yeah, the communications director of my school came and was like, honey, we are getting serious emails about some YouTube videos. And I was like, Oh my God. Ghetto.
Yeah, so what you say about Kenya? Because our national defense
Y'all can't
system.
be like that though. Y'all have to be open to constructive criticism. If somebody can't say, you don't even want YouTubers like that or people, oh my God, like that's fake. Like let people have an opinion respectfully.
Well, now that you say that, maybe you're speaking also that way because of your background, being a teacher. And, I was kind of surprised because, you're an education specialist in curriculum and instruction from Kennesaw State University and a master's in teaching and social studies in secondary education from Georgia State University.
Dang, where do I have this written down? Because you know a lot.
So
you got my resume?
Yes, and a person of your caliber is very powerful. For me, I view teachers as the most powerful profession on earth.
I don't like that though.
Because you deal with transferring information that's needed to the students.
Yeah.
And you do it in a way that they can receive it. Because that's why in school we say, oh my God, I love this teacher because she changed my life. Or I love this teacher because he made me love this subject. And that's why I'm doing the career that I'm in.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about the maybe education system? I know you're an international teacher, possibly focused with the international curriculum, but I'm just assuming that you've maybe interacted with the education system here or in Ghana. So what have you noticed based on your background? What's lacking and what's working?
So let me tell you something. I did not teach at like a rich white school or anything until I moved to Kenya. I have taught like in the States, I taught in the hood, 99% black children. In Ghana, underserviced children. That's always just been like what I'm used to teaching. So when I came here, and that's where a lot of people get confused, I have not really taught like Kenyan kids. I didn't teach at a Kenyan school. It was like an international school at an embassy for the embassy. So the school had like mostly Canadian, American, British, that type of vibe. So I feel like I really don't know too much about the Kenyan public school system, except for what I've heard.
All right.
And somebody was like, girl, don't teach for the Kenyan public school system. It's too strict on teachers. Like, that's not your vibe. Like, if you thought you were suffering then, you'll definitely suffer teaching Kenyan public school. So that's all I've kind of heard. But I know that from what I observed in Ghana, they were like light years ahead of the kids I was teaching in the States, to be honest. The school seems more like meticulous in what they're learning. I was shocked because it was like 6-year-olds who were doing like triple digit math, multiplication, and like my 6-year-old can't do that shit. So I was like, damn, like this is nice. Like, wow. So that's one thing I love about African education is the ability for teachers and students to do so much with sometimes so little. Not all the time, but with less resources. Because in America, before I got on my like international teacher swing, in America I used to be like a public school teacher advocate. So like, oh my God, like we need new books. Like this school has better like, chairs. Like we don't have open space learning carpets. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I went to Ghana and was just like, yo, like, shut up. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't even need that if you're to teach, you just don't.
It's interesting how, how things will differ from one place to another. And you mentioned that at one time that Kenya is very colonized. And you had a very interesting situation in Eastleigh. Yeah. Where in Kenya we call it Isich or Isili. Would you mind telling us about that event that happened in Eastleigh where you're talking about, colonization is real?
Well, that was in the Matatu, so that was a different day. But it's the same vibe.
So for those who have no idea, who are listening to this who have no idea what Eastleigh is, describe to them what it is.
It's like a Somali/Ethiopian area in Nairobi. like a neighborhood where you can go to get fast fashion. I go there to get my Daras, a lot of like retail goods that you may not want to buy like in the store. It's just cheaper over there. Hella Somali and Ethiopians just chilling. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Yes, instead of like in America there they have what is it? Chinatown. Yes, it's like Somali town.
Yeah, it's like Somali town.
You have everything you can find out of the sun, electronics, fashion, everything. Yes, you're having an interesting experience because when you went to Eastleigh, you were actually with another fella YouTuber, a white man. So yes, tell us what happened.
Phil. So Phil is really cool. I don't have a problem with white men, and that's one thing I want to address because sometimes I can come out kind of racist on my YouTube, I think. I'm not a racist. One of my closest friends here is white. I'm not a racist. I just can only put myself in spaces with people who are anti-racist. So in order to be my friend, if you're white, you need to be an anti-racist, number one. So before I even collaborated with him, I had to vet him. We had to talk.
Wow.
Yeah, like I needed to make sure this isn't like a weirdo guy. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to be on the same page as far as things. So we did that, and I was like, this guy is hella cool. Like I really like him. So we did a lot of collaborations together, and the whole time we collabed, it was just like an influx of obsession with him. Like almost people just making him feel like a god. Like, oh my God, like, like on him. We started saying that we were married because we're hoping like maybe that'll like, girls were just like, anyways, move. Literally, like, seriously, I was like, this is wild. People were like automatically walking up like, can you pay me for my lunch? Like, it was so embarrassing. Honestly, it made me feel disgusted. And honestly, it really did. When I go around YouTubing, nobody is trying to hop in sometimes, let me not lie. Sometimes people are trying to hop in my, video. For him, it's like everybody just flocking like, I don't know. It just was like disgusting to me. It was just like oh my God. Some people, the look in their eye looked like their day had been made, like that a white person said hi to them. So for me, I was just like, wow. Is that how y'all get treated over here? Now I see why everyone's coming.
So yes, that is an interesting situation. And, I laugh because, I'm going to play the clip later on, but...
I don't have money.
Me neither. Why do you think he has money? Because he's white.
Yes, whites are rich.
What? I have more money than him. I'm black.
Oh, you don't know.
Yes, how can't I have more money? I'm black.
No.
He's the broke one.
I'm broke.
I'm the one with money.
She's the rich one.
No.
She's my sugar mama.
Yes. Seriously.
Really?
That is so wrong. I'm the one with the money.
No sugar mama.
I'm the sugar mama. This is my sugar baby. He's broke. He is my sugar baby. I'm the one with money. And y'all are asking him for all the money. Little do you know, I got all the money. It's a damn shame.
Bye.
It's a damn shame.
Where you're actually saying that, you make more money than him. Yeah. And the guy was like, no, that's not true.
Yeah. And the people were defending the guy like, oh, it's because you're a woman. I said, no. He clearly said he's white. He makes more money. Phil ain't rich. Like, you know what I'm saying? Phil is not rich. So I'm just like, y'all are crazy. That's wild. And I know not everyone thinks like that, but it hurt me to think that he really thinks because I'm black, I can't have more money than this man sitting next to me.
So after that experience, I think now I'll go to one of the questions, sent, because I think they sort of address that. How do you see the way racism plays itself out in Kenya versus the US? You can see how here the white person is looked like the way you experience it, like, oh my God, move away. And you can see now why a lot of white people wants to come to Kenya because they're treated this way. Like, oh, they're not treated like this in their home country. So I know it's a different way, the way it is here compared to the US.
Yeah, there's a big difference. So I also say this, there's people who come here for jobs, white people who come here for jobs, and then there's white people who come here who are like the trash of their country at home, but they get treated like a god here, so they're gonna come to Africa. I wanna address that. So like, you have to ask yourself too, ladies who are dating these white men. I know a Kenyan girl who got pregnant by a white guy, thought it was like she hit the jackpot. This guy is trash. He's trash. He's all. I would rather you just be with a decent Kenyan man. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like, just because he was white, you were so pressed on that. And really, the guy's awful. I'm wondering if he had child molestation charges in the United States and fled. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you're a sex offender there, so you can go live somewhere else. So you have to really ask yourself these questions sometimes when you're like, why is this person in Africa, in Kenya? But that doesn't answer the question. To answer the question, racism, I think a lot of Kenyans in my comments will be like, you focus too much on race, but a lot of Kenyans don't see racism. Just because someone is not doing something overtly super racist, nigger or something, that's not the only form of racism. So I'm sensitive to racism because I'm American. And I know the microaggressions, I know the undertones, the funny. Like we've been brought up on that to like snap at that. Do you know what I'm saying?
And would you mind, just even as you finish your thought, maybe sharing what are some of the microaggressions you've seen here, the micro version that maybe Kenyans don't see?
Or maybe the way that an Indian talks to you when you are a Carrefour worker at the register, how quick they are to snap on you, but nice to other people who are Indian or white. Do you know what I'm saying? Or the speed of service that you may get as a black person compared to a white person. Or do you know what I'm saying? I had to go out on my guard one day because he like put his hand up to stop my car and like let my white neighbor in before me. I went off. I swear to God, I went off. Like just little things like that. Little things. Yeah, I gotta think more, but it's just little microaggressions that I don't like. I want to see more white house help. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that I just don't like. Yeah. So I think that because Kenyans, they'll be like, oh, stop bringing that race stuff over here. It is racist. There's a lot of racism going on here, which is why even a lot of jobs that are here, Kenyans could do. They're educated to do. And I am guilty of this. I was an expat who got exported in to do a job that a Kenyan could do. But they just wanted an American. They wanted, you know what I'm saying? Little things like that.
And I think, okay, while your point is very valid, sometimes I can understand, like, let's say if you decided to start a company right now, certain positions, because Americans understand how things are run in general. Certain positions you want to have Americans, and the other positions where you can train, the low-level positions, you'll have the locals. So,
do you think that in America, a foreign country can come in, set up a business, prefer Chinese people, bring them over, mostly Chinese? No, you're gonna find somebody. You're in somebody's homeland. So if you want to train them, do that, but give them opportunities. So I'm not saying everyone needs to be Kenyan, but like, come on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe, that's one thing that I've learned from African Americans is how to be assertive and speak up.
Yeah.
Because until I met African Americans, I'll just keep quiet and think this is just regular way of how things are supposed to be done.
No.
And, at first I was asking myself, why do African Americans have to be vocal? Like, I'm black and I'm proud and I'm this and I'm that. And it only took me a while for me to understand, for it to sink in, that I'm handsome. I'm also equally awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not lower than the white person.
No.
And, for a long time, I look down on myself because I'm dark skinned. But only like, I'm hearing songs like India Ree, brown skin,
Brown skin.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm listening to those songs, but it didn't hit home until I met a white person who was sunburnt. And I'm like, for me, it doesn't compute because I can't get sunburnt.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like...
Don't get me started.
I was like, oh, interesting. So maybe we can now, find out, like, you being here in Kenya, what do you think is most misunderstood about Kenya? Maybe like 3 things, that outsiders, you hear the news and you're like, they say stuff about Kenya. So like, you being on the ground, you're like, that's not true. So like, maybe what are 3 things that come to mind that is misunderstood about Kenya or Africa?
I would say the rate of development. Like, M-Pesa is super effective. It's really better than Apple Pay. There's nothing like M-Pesa in America. So that was something like, even when my mom came, she was like, this is nice. I'm like, yeah, girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would say how busy Nairobi is. Like, Nairobi is one of the top tier countries, I think, in Africa. I haven't visited many, but like, from what I've heard and even others, I would say Nairobi's like really, really up there, and it does not get like shown a lot. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, when they even think of Africa, they think of like Zanzibar, Cape Town, Egypt. Like, I think Nairobi's kind of like underrated when it comes to that.
Okay, so in fact, I've noticed that even as you say, there are not a lot of opportunities in Kenya. I noticed that even on your YouTube channel, you showcase a lot of your adventures going up and about, and you don't focus on a specific area. You go all out. Like, you've been to the high-end places and you've been to the slums.
Yeah, that's what I like.
So, talk to me about your experience in Kibera. How was that like? What was your expectation? Because I know you've probably heard about Kibera before you went there. Mm-hmm. And then when you went there, what was the experience like? And what was expectation versus reality? What was the reality that you experienced?
So that was actually my second time in Kibera. The first time I went, but I didn't take cameras because I didn't want to. I always felt uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to seem pretentious. So the first time I went, I thought it was going to be way worse than it was, to be honest. Like, for it to be the biggest slum in Africa, I was like, I mean, this is slum, but it's not like kids with flies and poop on their face. Like, that. Mm-hmm. That's what I envisioned. Like,
for $1 a day,
yeah, like
you could change.
Like, I was like, well, I mean, they got a church, they got a school, they got, it's just really like, maybe not every house is super developed, but they have water. It's not. I feel like if you can go to the store, if you can go to the recording session, go buy a soda, it's not that much of a slum. Like, it's a city, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm. Yeah, so a slum to me is you walking to get water. Like, they have running water in public toilets. Like, it may not be the best situation, but it's not awful. Like, yeah, I have a friend who lives there, and his apartment is actually not bad. So I feel like everyone has told me it has to keep that rep to keep the money coming.
What do you mean by that?
Like, NGOs, people hear like, oh, like the $1 a day. Oh my gosh, like, yeah, someone's living nice off of Kibera being messed up, quote unquote. So it was a vibe. I had a good time. I mean, I'm always down. Anyone who's down for a good time, I'm down. I'll go. I'll go to a Maasai village. I'll go to a tea farm. If it's fun, I'm in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you learned from that experience being there before we move to the farm?
I would say what hit me the most, because I asked the guy I was with, like, you got money, so why are you staying here? And he was like, I moved out to a nicer place and I came back because this is where my people are. This is my family. This is my home. And he's like, I'm comfortable here. Like, I'm not ashamed to say I live in Kibera. He's like, this is where I would rather be, like, period. So I was just like, okay. Empowerment, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the way somebody might be like, ew, like, you live in Kibera. He's like, hell yeah, I live in Kibera. Like, that's where I want to be. Like, so I don't know. It's just the way that things are portrayed to us. Like, some Kenyans will be in my messages like, yo, I've lived in Nairobi my whole life and I've never been to Kibera. And then I've been here for a year and I'm kicking it, you know? So I think it's how stories are told.
So what story would you tell of Kibera?
They live in Kibera and they're chilling. I mean, there's places all throughout Kenya that probably have the same housing conditions, but for some reason it's been branded that name, so it's hard to move away from. Just like how Chicago is like the most dangerous city. Oh my God, you're gonna get shot. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Not every block of Chicago you're gonna get shot on. Like, yeah, so I don't know. Go and find out.
So is there any specific places in Kibera you'd recommend?
I was like really just on the streets, like literally just, and then we went to his homeboy's house.
Okay, so there are no specific places there to check out if someone...
There's I forgot what it's called, but you can Google it. There's a place where they turn human waste into geogas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of projects that give youth jobs. So there's a place where they turn the waste into geogas. There's a place with women who have HIV and AIDS make a lot of like handcrafts and stuff. Specifically, I don't know exactly the names of these places, but yeah, those two places I visited, I just can't remember the names.
Don't worry, we'll find out the names and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, please.
So that
please.
if you're around Kenya and Nairobi, you can check them out, see how you can support, be part of it, and experience the other side that you're not seeing portrayed in the media. And yes, now talking about being on a farm, the other day you mentioned about your excitement being on a Kikuyu farm.
Yeah.
So what were you doing on the Kikuyu farm, and what was that experience like?
I just meet people and vibe. So I actually had this guy slide into my DMs and he was like, yo, like, let me do your laundry. I have a laundry business. And I found out lives in Texas, but operates a laundry business here.
Oh, okay.
And he's Kikuyu, whatever. So he did my laundry for me. I like put it on my Instagram. And then I was vlogging with Phil in Thika Mall area.
So Phil is the guy from Texas, the Kikuyu guy from Texas.
No, Phil, the white guy.
Oh, yes.
Me and Phil were vlogging on our 8-hour Matatu day. And then someone was like, Brittney. And I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh my God. Because I saw like the laundry service name. So I was like, oh, this is where you're located. Because he had gotten it delivered and sent. So long story short, I like saw him in person. And he was like, I just got here. Like, nice to meet you. I'm the one you were messaging. And then we just started talking. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to my grandma's house tomorrow. And I was like, oh, that's a bet. And he was like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah. So I went. And it was a vibe. That was like my second time hanging out with him, but it was such a vibe. His family was super welcoming. Yeah, like I said, I'm down to go anywhere as long as I'm not going to get kidnapped. So.
That's right. We'll put the video in the link so you can see her adventures.
It was fun. It was so fun. His auntie was my favorite part. Honestly, she's so sweet. I'm going to go visit her.
What was it about his auntie that made it your favorite?
Well, she taught me how to make ugali like a real Kenyan woman off camera. And she was like, we don't use instant flour. This is cornmeal down here, grinded. And we're going to make the real ugali like a real Kenyan woman. And I was like, okay. And she was just really sweet. I love old people. And I haven't seen my granddaddy in a while. My grandma passed a while ago, so... It was nice. Sometimes you just want an old lady to put your head on their little shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. What else did you learn on the farm apart from auntie teaching you how to cook ugali the traditional style?
You know. You know what I learned? About the last name being passed down, but the middle name becomes the last name for different sons. And that's a wild concept to me. That's very un-American.
Yes, the naming process, how they give names to the kids.
I was just like, what? So you and your brother are going to have different last names? That is unheard of. That's crazy.
Yes.
That is so crazy. It's still perplexing.
Yes, each tribe has their way of how they give names to the children. So, yes, Kikuyus have a different way, other tribes have a different way.
That was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing I learned there. I was very perplexed. He had to explain it like 3 times.
In fact, I'm not surprised. In fact, I would say if you were Kenyan, you'd probably be Luya.
People just say that because I'm thick. People just say that because I'm thick, I think. Literally. Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'll take it.
You'll notice each tribe has this a certain look.
Yeah.
So, you kind of have that look.
That's cute. Are they cute?
Oh, yeah, they're very attractive,
Great.
Yes.
I'm in there.
And they love chicken, so, hey, and you black too, so.
My mom chickened me out. I hate chicken as an adult.
Really?
My mom
No
was one
way.
of those black moms who just fucking cook chicken. Monday, barbecue chicken. Tuesday, Italian chicken. Wednesday, Mexican chicken. Thursday, soy chicken. I'm chickened out. I'm done.
Dang it, Mom, why'd you have to do that?
I know. It's crazy. I prefer red meat and goat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fish.
So watch out. When you're a mom, you don't do that to your daughter or to your son.
Yeah. No. I cook everything. I mix it up.
Wonderful. And I think also one of the interesting things is, as an expat, there are a lot of skills needed in order to come, move to a new country and what have you. And you said you came, you first started in Ghana because you came with your boyfriend, and then you managed to get your job offer here and you come here. What were some of the things you wish you knew coming in, just to get ready, like that would make landing easier?
I was spoiled moving here because my job made it super easy. So my work permit was handled. I got picked up at the airport. My house was picked out. I had a very soft landing. But I was also, the one thing I could say was living that expat life, where it's I bought my rugs from Sarit Center for $250 each. 4 rugs. Do you know what I'm saying? When I really could have taken my black ass to Eastleigh and gotten the same rug for $50 each. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or going to Carrefour all the time instead of finding a little stand somewhere, going to Kenyan market. So I just didn't really do my research on different areas. So because now that I've done this, I give advice to others who are coming. So I'm don't put pressure on yourself to live in Westlands, Lavington, Kilimani, these areas that they tell you. There are safe and affordable areas in other places because people actually undermine how expensive Nairobi is. And you may come here with a bag and go home bagless because you're not budgeting. You're not cutting corners. You're not finding out how much things are so you don't get overpriced. I always say find the local. My life has gotten so much easier now that I have more Nairobi friends than expat friends. Mm-hmm. My life has done a complete 180.
How has your life come,
I'm on the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's places I never would have visited. Restaurants, my favorite restaurants used to be Zen Garden, Wine Shop, very American places. Now I'm finally finding, okay, Ashaki has the best this place has the best this. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, okay.
Okay, let's name drop some of your restaurants that you've discovered that was a pleasant surprise and you just love that experience.
I like Ozone's food. I love Ashaki's bone soup. I love 3D's curry soup. It is so good.
3D?
3D fish.
Okay. Where's that at?
It's in Kilimani. Oh my gosh. You haven't lived. 3D fish is so good with the coconut curry. I've been to Green Garden over past TRM off Eastern Bypass. They have really good nyama choma.
Yes.
Just street stuff. Honestly, stuff on the street.
That's good in terms of the food stuff. And you've mentioned a couple of places, traveling up and about. Which are also the other interesting places you've been to, that you've traveled, and you've said that if you're someone, maybe even as a Kenyan, they've not seen it, they've not experienced it, or an outsider who comes to visit, what are some of the must visit places or must try activity?
I really enjoyed Naivasha.
Vasha.
Yeah.
AKA.
I went to an Amapiano fest there, and it was so good. I love Kisumu. Was definitely one of my favorites. Diani was gorgeous, of course. Everyone go to Diani. The camels on Diani, it's just cliche but so nice. I went starfish looking in Diani. That was fun. Everything is fun, so I can't say I like this better than this.
And that's true. At least, you're helping us generate a list because for the longest time...
was cool. Nanyuki.
Nanyuki? Okay.
I could have kept Nanyuki, though. It was cool.
So, okay, in Diani, you mentioned the starfish, the camel riding, and you mentioned the Amapiano party in Naivasha. What did you experience in Kisumu and Nanyuki?
In Kisumu, to be honest, I was partying the whole time. I was partying. And then hanging out with my friend's mom because she's like lonely. She's at the house by herself and all her kids are in Nairobi. So we were just like, she was just cooking a spread for us the whole time. So I was either at the club or at her house.
Which are the party spots
Black Pearl.
to visit in Kisumu? Black Pearl?
Yeah.
Okay. That's like number one on the list?
That's all. We just kept going back.
Okay.
And then little street bar, I mean, of course, but it was mainly Black Pearl. And then one place I can't remember that was like literally on the street.
What about Nanyuki? Were there any lit parties?
We went to Nanyuki. I didn't really party when I went there. I went to Hell's Gate.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So I was like, let's not go out too hard because I'm not trying to like be suffering tomorrow. You know, like I do not need that. So we kept it simple. Nanyuki was cool. It's definitely on the lower end of my enjoyment list. But it was cool. I would rather go to Naivasha.
And how was the Hell's Gate experience like for you?
It was great. It was cool. Yeah.
Did you know it was one of the inspiration for Lion King?
That's what they say about Opajetta. That's what they say about
There's a certain corner in that ravine, where Scar and Mufasa died,
The tour guide was like, Tomb Raiders was filmed down here, and I was like, I gotta fact check that.
Yes, it was actually.
Was it? Oh, well then he wasn't lying.
There's also a scene where they shot in downtown also, on Haile Selassie Avenue.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. So Vasha, Kisumu, Nanyuki, okay, chill mode. Diani.
I've been to Malindi, Watamu,
okay,
Diani, and Mombasa.
Which one did you like out of all those? And
Diani.
What made Diani stand out?
Watamu is like boring. Malindi.
So in other words, there's no nightlife, or
it just wasn't electric to me. Like I like an energy, you know. So it's very like family. And I was running into some of my students. I'm like, this is not the vibe. Like, this is not the vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
That's funny. Okay, it's funny, but it's not funny.
It was not funny. I was like, I know I did not pay to come out here and deal with this.
And so far, what makes you passionate about Kenya?
Who said I'm passionate about Kenya?
Well, you're here and you're saying, like you're saying for a while, so definitely Kenya's doing something good to you.
I don't know. It's just, it's a good place. I feel comfortable here. I've done a lot of growing personally here. I just prefer being here, but I do plan on traveling, which is why my name is Brittney in Africa. I do plan on one day moving on. I want to make Kenya my home base though. So my goal is to be the African female, not African female, the female version of like Wode Maya, but different though, a different vibe. But you feel me?
Yes.
So Wode, his home point is Ghana. I want Nairobi to be my home point.
Well, definitely. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunity, untapped opportunity here in Kenya. Yes. You've been interestingly enjoying our unique transport system. Are you a car person, matatu person, or boda person?
Boda. I had a car, I got rid of it.
So what is it about boda? Okay, for those who don't know what boda is, that's just our word for the motorbikes. What is it about boda that just, you chose it that you even ditched your car?
Yeah. Well, I bolt a lot too. But like, first of all, I don't like driving here. It gives me anxiety. I like to be on my phone when I'm traveling. Like, I don't want to be sitting in traffic, not being able to be on my phone because my business is on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So I really didn't want to get a driver, and it's dangerous driving. So I was like, I'm just going to get rid of my car. Boda is quick. It's cheap. It's fun. I can like really feel the streets. Like when you're in the car, you're not like looking around as much, I feel like. But when I'm in a boat, I'm really like seeing things, So it's just, is it convenient for me? It's fun. I live for the thrill.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what have been like your 3 favorite Kenyan moments?
That's a good question. Moments in Kenya. I have so many good moments.
Sure. Let's start with the 3 that come off the top of your mind. On the next episode, we're gonna get some more.
I would say my birthday.
And what happened on your birthday?
I went to Black Star and Gemini, and I just got so much love, and it was like crazy to me because I'm like, most of these people I did not know a year ago, and like I'm just being showered with like love and appreciation. So that was really cool, super cool. A time I went out to dinner and we sat there for like 4 hours. And we were just talking and having fun. It was so fun at Ozone. It was like all girls and we were just hanging out. It just be the little things. I literally just value everything. Entertainment wise though, I would say the camels. I had a beach day on the beach in Diani and it was like the Maasai, the camels, my Airbnb was being, I was like, yo, I am fucking living. I was like, girl, you living. Like, you know, it was such a vibe. It was such a good day. That was one of my top moments being in Diani.
Okay.
I have fun meeting people and vlogging. So a lot of my top moments are in my vlogs or my interviews. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're so fun.
Okay. Top 3 vlogs.
I just started vlogging, really. So I would say my favorite was the one that I posted today in the Parklands. That was really fun.
Oh, the one with the guy who was trying to say, I'm Kenyan, I'm Nigerian, I'm Sudanese.
Nuts. These people are nutty. I would say my Kibera one for sure. That was one of my favorites. And I didn't really like 8 hours in a matatu, but everyone else did. Everyone else really liked that. Let's see, Kibera. I can't even remember all my blogs.
So because you mentioned the matatu and you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? And maybe you can mention 2 other moments that you didn't like, your worst Kenyan moments or your least favorable Kenyan moments.
Bill got all the good footage for 8 hours in a matatu. But mine ended up getting like more views, I think. But he got all the good footage. So I just felt like mine was like the scram. Like, I just kind of had to throw it together. So I wasn't really feeling it.
Come on, and matatu is like one of the best Kenyan experiences.
Yeah, but we went on a lame matatu, first of all. We could have found a better matatu, which I knew, but we were just like, just vibing. My worst times in Kenya, oh my God, the train to freaking Mombasa. That was one of my worst times.
The
I was
SGR?
so miserable, and people were coughing, and I caught COVID on that train. It was awful. It was really awful.
Why were you miserable?
It just wasn't nice.
Like, it wasn't comfortable, or?
It wasn't comfortable. I was in economy because first class was sold out. So you're like at the table looking at someone. Like, it just sucked. Like, I was like, yo, never again. Never again. I've had some weird club experiences here, but I don't even want to get into details. But nightlife issues, like girls are crazy. Like, girls are crazy, guys are crazy. Things like that. Those are my worst moments. Yeah, issues. Like at night, or if there's like a fight. Like one time I had bottles at my table and there was a fight and it fell on my table and like my leg got cut. Like, yeah, like things like that, just ghetto. Like, no need to even go into detail, but you know the vibes. Yeah. Otherwise that, nah.
Okay, I like finishing off with 3 books, 3 movies, 3 songs. So, but I'm gonna double it up. So 3 Kenyan, either books, movies, songs that you've come across. No, when you say songs, it's the artist and the song that you like, and then American also, or what you're listening to right now.
I don't really know. No, I don't know any Kenyan artists that much, to be honest.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's what I was talking to Fena about. Like I like Sante Soul.
Okay, Sauti Soul is one of them. Okay, Fena Gitu, yes.
Yeah. Diamond is not Kenyan. No.
Okay, it's not Kenyan, but at least
Got it.
Okay. Any movies?
That series that Lupita is in on Netflix, the MTV series where she's like young in Nairobi.
You haven't checked it out yet?
Yeah, that one. I haven't really seen any Kenyan movies. You know, I went to a Kenyan movie festival and it was in Swahili, so I left. Yeah, like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh, what are your current favorite movies now?
Right now, I will always love Gone Girl. I love like a complex suspense type vibe.
Affleck.
Yeah. I forgot her name. It doesn't even matter, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I love like a crazy love suspense story. Gone Girl. I love the Twilight Saga. I can watch it over and over. I'm real corny for that, but I love it. And then another movie. I always love like any Jordan Peele. I think his messages are really strong.
Okay.
So like Get Out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Get Out.
That was really intense.
Yeah. Very intense.
All right. Maybe 3 books. They don't have to be Kenyan, but 3 books that have impacted your life you just want to share.
A Woman's Rage.
By?
Honestly, I can't even remember the lady's name, but it's a red book.
Okay. And what did it do for you?
It was just talking about how to empower yourself and turn your inevitable anger from feminism and all these type of issues that we deal with into productivity. How a lot of times strong women get pushed into like masculinity or like she's abrasive and all these things. So it was just basically breaking down the anatomy of a strong woman. I would say the Bible. I do read the Bible a lot. I do. Another book, honest to God, I have not read in so long, but it's called The Northern Light by Ashley Foster. That's one of my favorite books as well.
Okay. And what is it about? Why is it impactful?
It's just a girl who was finding herself during like really, really bad situations and just kept going. Ooh, Cupcake Brown as well. Piece of Cake by Cupcake Brown. She literally had the worst life you could ever imagine in the world. It was awful. Like, she should have just killed herself. Honestly, it was so bad. There was, every time it went up, it went like all the way down, but she just kept going. And now she's like super successful. So I always, every time I'm like having a bad day and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, yo, Cupcake, that with this. And it was real. It's a true story.
Wow.
Cupcake Brown, yeah.
Okay.
A Piece of Cake. Make sure you Google.
Definitely look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I know for the songs I had you just for the Kenyan African, which one's now like all across? 3, you're like your must listen songs or the artists like you love to listen to. Or what are you jamming to even now?
I listen to Tusi a lot, Summer Walker, Janae, Aiko, Rihanna. I'm not a big Beyonce fan. I'm not a part of the Bayhive.
Any particular songs that are just like on repeat for you on your Spotify list?
Sapiosexual, Tusi. Janae Aiko's whole Chimbino I listened to over and over. Kehlani, It Was Good Until It Was Bad, I listened to over and over. Adele, Woman Like Me, 30, that's on spin right now. 2C, Sapiosexual. I love Big Flexer right now. It's my favorite song in the club. I'm being a vibe. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's what I listen to most. Yeah.
Wow. All right, let's finish this off with what are 3 pieces of your wisdom that you've learned or you've heard of while being here in Kenya?
Speak less and listen more in every situation. Just stop talking. Yeah. Assume the best in people. So like even if you feel offended, just assume that it's a misunderstanding so that you can keep yourself from becoming abrasive or feeling like upset about the situation. And all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So just because we're both black, like in America, I feel like you can kind of, we have like you can look at each other kind of like a, you know.
What's up?
Yeah, like if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? But here, I can't always like, if you know, you know, because you don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Like, so we're really different. Like, that's what I've learned to that Africans in general. And you may feel that way even seeing Tanzanian. Like, you may feel different. So, you know what I'm saying? Tanzania is a little close. So maybe I should say like an Egyptian or something. You know what I'm saying? We're all black, but we all have very different experiences throughout the world in our blackness.
Wow. Any last takeaway before we sign off today?
Like and subscribe, you guys. Follow me, ask me questions, let's chat. If there's a neighborhood you want me to pull up in, call me.
All right, yes. Where can people find you on your social handles?
Everything is Brittney in Africa, Brittney in Africa. Except for TikTok where it's 2 A's on Africa at the end.
Okay, yes. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. This was fun. This went by really quick.
Yes, I hope you enjoyed yourself. And
time flies.
If you have found anything interesting that Brittney has shared here, please do share with me on my Instagram, on YouTube comment. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about just how this is impacting your life, because I love sharing information that you're not taught by your parents, school, or society. And I'm sure that what Brittney has shared, you have seen one thing differently. So thank you for listening in. Follow her on all her channels.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
I think it's so important for Africans and Africans of the diaspora to like bridge these gaps and learn about each other. And it just upsets me that like it's not taught more in schools all over, like us about each other. It's almost like there's like an agenda to keep us apart from each other almost, or like you just don't really care or know. Do you know what I'm saying? Because even I've been asked this question so many times here, like, okay, so where are you from? And I'm like, America. And they're like, I mean, what are you? And I'm like, Black American. And they're like, I mean, where are you from? In Africa. And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know? And I'm like, I don't, like, and then I had to break it down, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I just wish that like that was something that was commonly known.
So
vice versa, things I don't know. You know?
I love that, and that's what we're going to plan for the next episode.
Yeah.
Bridging the gap between Africans and Africans in the diaspora.
Yeah, please. We are bridging gaps.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And this has been that episode of Revenge of the Forsaken Gods. I'm your host, Andrew Balongo Perry. Thank you for watching.